of my presentations here. All right, who's seen a working one? Oh, yeah, right. All right, and the rest have seen the ones that don't work. Right now, I'm batting 0 for any of my demos to actually work here. So, you know, you can't have too much confidence in me right now. But this one, luckily, is not to actually demo a working solution. This is more of a exploratory task. Sharing information, sharing where I've gone with this and what my mind is kind of pushing through as I explore these topics. This is very much a presentation to open your eyes or help you see things different ways with how we could utilize these tools. I'm not trying to cram anything down anybody's throat right now, but just kind of present what I have. And if the demo gods are working, we will have a demo that won't work 100%, but it'll work with what it needs to. So, so starting off really quick, who all here is familiar with A2A and AP2 already? Okay, quick primer on it. For those of you that have been to regular meetings, I apologize. Agent to agent is a protocol that was released by Google. It's an open source protocol. And basically it is a process of taking agent-based traffic, AI-based traffic, whatever you want to roll into the term agent, taking that traffic, separating it into a separate protocol, and allowing it to handle more like discovery-style tasks. I see a lot of resemblance in what's being done here in the SEO world, in the areas where people are trying to get their information out there. And it makes a ton of sense because it's getting into this notion that similar to car radios, all of them kind of turned into an aux port for your iPhone. Everything is going to be turning into you get all of your information through your AI chat assistants. So as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a marketing team, as a CEO, you know, your customers are not coming to your websites anymore. Your customers aren't going to look through your product catalog. They are going to ChatGPT and telling them what is the best product to purchase. That is a lot of where I see this, but I'm going a completely different direction now. The areas to key in on here, it's an open protocol, like I said, core ideas. There is verified authentication between the agents with A2A, so you do get that capability. Like I mentioned, capability discovery. This is the one I'm honing in on the most tonight. Basically, you are saying as a business, as a person, as a brand, as a company, my capabilities are X. And through the searches inside of the chatbots, through the LLMs, through however they're working, they will find through the A2A protocol off of an exposed API all of your product catalog, all the information that they want you as a customer to know. This gets into a lot of really cool workflows. Someone who desperately needs tech support on their computer takes a screenshot of it with ChatGPT and says, how do I fix this? And then they get a contract service or a service out there that can install something and do it. This is obviously a very made up story. But then they can pay for the transaction right there inside the chat with a reliable customer or a reliable company. So that's kind of what I'm going to dig into a little there. There's also, you got like internet exchange handoffs, anywhere supply chain that could be working with this stuff. Agents can be getting in there and walking through transactions. So then the AP2 protocol, agent payment protocol, came out last week, I believe, or the week before. And this basically allows them to start handling transactions, physical money transactions, across the protocol. And so now, instead of just doing handoffs and then you deal with billing later, the actual billing aspect now is built into the chat. So when customers get your solutions back or they get whatever that it is inside the organization or inside the chat, they get the details back and then they get the option to pay for it. We're starting to see this hit the market now. There's a ton of integration from all of the big players. PayPal's already on board. I'm not going to speak to any of the others because I would probably be lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll shut up there. Questions those were the basics. Anybody else want to cover anything I mentioned? Questions? Can I clarify anything? All right, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to build a prototype that runs through this transactions journey. What I did is I've been working for the past year plus on doing a lot of automated software development. My whole notion and what I've latched into is complete hands-off on software development and how do we fix it. So I rolled this straight into that one with the notion that inside of an automated workflow with lane chain, and I actually use lane graph in this demo. So you have a workflow that steps through the process of selecting the agents. Sorry, I was getting a little mixed up there. And with that, when you go to get something built or you go to do something, be similar to like eBay or any other market site, you say, I need these types of capabilities. And it finds all the different agents, it finds the custom trained models, fine-tuned models, whatever's out there that offers up the type of services that your project needs, it gives you the ability to pull those in and then work with them. And so that's what I wanted to test here. I wanted to be able to grab these A2A queries, being able to hit capabilities and find in a market where people have agents available to do work and someone requesting software and it happening. And so that is what we're going to do. The notion of it is basically as a user goes in and requests new software, the lane graph workflow, well, let me just show it. I need to do that. Let's make sure we're here. All right. Can everybody see? Well, you'll see it better. So Corvera is the name of this kind of like ongoing software development project I've been doing. Yeah, it's just kind of my own thing. So that's what Corvera is. So here, can y'all see that well? No? Zoom? All right. So here we got basic selection. So what I have built into this right now is you can come in here and you can request software development. Rolling into my previous presentations, you essentially add a project name, chess, game, taco, cats. That'll work. We're going to build a chess game, hopefully using characters of tacos and cats versus each other. So budget and stuff, these are kind of fake numbers. This is all kind of just to show how transactions can be set up and how this can be planned out. Timeline, 30 days, why not? Description, basic chess game. Okay, requirements, must use tacos and cats as pieces. PvP and PvC play options. Add. Okay, so this is kind of capabilities I'm leaving blank for this very reason right here. So here's what happened. We put in what we would like from a application. All right, it actually failed. I gotta love it. So what happened is it was working off of the A2A capabilities and working through the information I built into the form to say what are the agents available that can build this software. And we have a nice little bug here. So like I mentioned, there's also services that I put in here. And I can go back in a second and show you the different services. One of them is a taco stand. All right, taco stand. One of their menu items is a taco. So obviously from the information I put in the description, it keyed in on tacos and not software or a chess app. So I should probably redo that. Let's try that again. No taco cats. Regular chess pieces.
I mean, you're in Austin, so like having tacos and AI together is actually incredibly appropriate.
Okay, let's, all right, fine. All right, here's our agents. I got a coffee shop. I got Codex orchestrator, so we can go ahead and just go into it. Each one of the agents in a lane graph workflow kicks off whatever the workflow is that someone is providing. Oh, a pointer. You don't know what you just did. So basically, we have an agent here that says at $10 something or other, it'll you orchestrate the code development using Codex. We have an insurance company, lawn care, so you can kind of see how I set this up to kind of show multiple different approaches. I also have Cloud Orchestrator here, and there's our taco place, and then I'm also building in local OLAMA integration as I can get there. So let's do this again. Chess game 40 timeline 30 days and description. Get that added. Create. Yay! Now we have better. Okay, so we have two options here. We have a Codex orchestrator and a Cloud orchestrator. Let's see. This is kind of the main part of what I had from a demo-wise, because it kind of shows and highlights where some of the ways you can look at this, and this is very much from a marketplace standpoint, kind of ripped straight out of like AWS. But you see that the available agents are there. We recognize that when the agents need to be spun up and loaded and ready to go, it's there for the demo. Specialization is an orchestrator, not going into too much depth. And then, of course, you can do price comparison and ratings based on users to kind of give you the general picture of what's there. But what we're going to do is we're going to do the Codex orchestrator. Works for me. He's got a 4.6223649. That's pretty good.
It's a very accurate score.
Hey, agents demand detail. Let's start the work here. If this kicks back an API error, hey, it's going, yay. All right, so this is all kind of, it still needs a lot of cleanup. But essentially what this is, here's a workflow we're running through. Essentially, it's going to establish intent and requirements to be built out. It's then discovering the agents that are and their capabilities. Are they available, ready to go? Capability negotiation, blah, 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 blah. Contract assembly. So this is one of those key things. It doesn't matter really how you apply it here, but here's what I'm going to say. Contracted-based agents is going to have to be how we build critical software. And I'm not just talking about building product designs. I'm not just talking about building engineering docs, but taking a capability through A2A where you can actually negotiate contracts and have them executed and have them validated. I think that is how we have to go to get to critical software development at this level. Anyways, that's just my opinion. So it runs through its deal. It builds all the stuff. It's actually building right now, hopefully. So that's essentially what it is. And when everything comes back, it will all get dumped into an artifacts folder. And when everything completes, you will see everybody getting paid. And that's it. So while it's waiting to die and crash, questions?
Yeah, well, I'll start with one. So you implemented A2A inside of this. So which side is actually implementing the A2A service discovery and service offering? Yeah, so you have like a Codex agent, you have a Llama agent that's exposing a service. Can you expand a little more on like how your project execution is querying these agents for their capabilities and negotiating the cost?
Yeah, so when an agent is added to this application, we look for the capabilities and how they register with the A2A. Specifically, I did it to use A2A to find capabilities. because the next thing I'm going to do is allow someone to set up like a third-party website,
Yeah.
expose their A2A catalogs through that, and then tie it into this tool as well.
So do you see this as like a service advertisement framework for your agents or graphs?
That is really the biggest use case I can come up with right now. And it was one of those things I'm fielding out to everybody here. I'd love to hear other use cases on this. Oh, hey, it said that it worked. It didn't work. It's not going to work. I'm still doing a lot of work, so that's pulling in through the OpenAI Codex SDK to integrate with that. So it's literally just firing up a Codex session and having it do all of its work. It does the exact same thing with Claude Code. So let's see. My other pages. So if I can come into my, I used to have like details and stuff on what was done with the agent, its transactions, the ledger and all that stuff, but I've lost that in the refactoring.
We'll record it and all that. And
So that'll have to be a next time type thing.
Cool. Awesome.
That's what I got. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I can't. Yes, and there's a pretty good chance it's already partially showing up there, in there. So that type of stuff, you want to go into your SEO settings. And I've noticed a few of the places, especially like website builders and different places like that, they stuff them in there. But they should have those settings. And you're looking for stuff like a robot TXT. They take a lot of the same approaches for SEO with AEO as well. But that's where I would start there. And if they don't have it yet, Shopify is probably going to have it pretty dang quick.
Shopify already released an MCP where you can actually connect to your Shopify via the MCP and get access to the entire Shopify corpus. I haven't seen A2A on them yet.
Cool.
But yeah.
Okay. So with an MCP, you're basically now, instead of interacting with a UI, interacting with a API, you're interacting with an agent that talks for you to the MCP.
Awesome.
Yeah. You had a question, right?
Oh, sorry. Question.
Oh, but it was, kind of getting in the weeds about service providers and whatnot. When you think about service organizations and when you're like contracting with them, you do have things that are like clauses about craftsmanship, and then you also have like, things that happen in terms of how do you cancel a project or how do you add on to a project. These are change requests and whatnot. I mean, that all happens in the human world.
Right.
And then, well, in my mind as this was going right through the flow, it's like, what if it's like while it's thinking you cancel it halfway? When you talk about the A2P aspect of this, is the remuneration, is that committed at the beginning or is it committed at the end? Is there an escrow in the middle? Like, I'm curious about this.
I am too. I don't have the answer to that.
No problem.
I have not gone deeper into the contract side of all of this yet to understand how that is. Does anybody have that answer?
I've only done service advertisement for like listing, searching, enumerating posts. I haven't tied it into any sort of like smart contract or something like that. I've only used it for like exposing interfaces that you can consume like my blog and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And you brought up a point that I wanted to make sure and bring up for the questions earlier about human in the loop. Each one of these steps right here is one of those that would be a smart place to add human in the loop. And especially the later steps. Right now, you can't have agents pass money around with A2A or AP2. You still have to have human in the loop. So you have to inject a human somewhere, and usually at the validation and review when the artifacts have been dumped. That's probably a good time to do it. That whole space, though, needs a lot of work. I personally haven't seen many talk about it. Yeah. Oh, right over here. You were first.
So, I don't know, where did I get lost or something? So, what you're trying to achieve, this is what I understood. So, you have a kind of like a software that was running a local house, and you put in some information about the software, like a chess or something, and then you generate. So, I'm assuming that, for example, you're a software company and you wanted to build a customer, correct? information about the software somehow, and then the agent generates a bill based on some LLM or something. That's what you're trying to do.
There's, I haven't gone in depth into how that's handled. I've just done simple, just proof. So it would be however you'd want to set that up. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be a software company. Maybe you're really, really good at building a certain type of model that does a certain thing. And when it's tied to a project, use my model. It's 30 cents a minute or whatever the hell the charge. What's the goal?
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the goal of using A2A and AP2 is to have agents communicate the contract, negotiate the contract, establish it, and then pay for it when it needs to be paid for. Okay. In this workflow? Yeah. So first thing, right off the top, the intent requirement. So that's taking everything I entered in the form, and that's turning it into a PRD that gets handed off to the agent we contract with. So agent discovery is where we find them, and then capability negotiation and contract assembly these are the steps right here where that is set up. And it's not in there. Nothing's in there. Yay. So these two are where they would set up the contract, and then the authorization and signing is where they close it off. Then we do the work, and then validation and review and payment routing. So that's kind of where all those steps happen.
So where's the authorization? If it does the two agents needs to authorize.
Yeah, it has to do it closer to setup. So I'm gonna have to stop there. I'm getting cut off. I'm sorry. Let's chat more if you want to after this. Yeah, I'll grab your question after a bit. Okay.
I'll encourage everyone to continue the conversation